What is up, Keeping Up with the Pack? It's your co-hosts, Laina
and Bella Smiley, and we are so excited to see what everybody's done with Go Mad Day. We hope that you had a ton of fun just helping out the community, and if you're looking for more ways to stay involved in campus through volunteer acts, you can go check out the Northwood Communications email. They send an email from time to time, pretty much every month or week. I get them, and you can just go through and you can see all the amazing volunteer opportunities that happen around Midland, and if you're looking to be a part of that, definitely go check that out and sign up for those.
And on top of giving your time away and donating, another opportunity if you didn't have the chance to participate in Go Mad Day is filling the trailer for veterans. So basically what this is donating hygiene products to veterans. So all of these items must be collected by November 30th, and you can get them collected in the church building, the athletic offices, the DeVos Graduate School, or the Student Union.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just a really great way to say thank you to those veterans who might be struggling but gave so much of themselves to just protect our country and protect ourselves. I mean, I'm the daughter of a Navy man, so thank you, Dad, and thank you for all of those who were in the service. We have study abroad signups going on right now, which is so incredible. I'm currently signed up for the Italy trip, which I'm so excited for. I'm so excited. So that is May 15th to the 29th, and that is in Italy. And then we have the Slovenia trip from February 17th to June 16th. So that's a lot longer than the Italy one, but I'm sure if you choose to go and sign up, which you definitely should, it'll be incredible.
And I think if anything is holding you back from travel abroad, you can always talk to professors, you can talk to the faculty members who run these programs, because at Northwood, everyone wants you to excel all the opportunities you have. And if there's something that you think is holding you back, whether it's the price of these trips, whether you think it fits in with your degree path or not, talk to someone. Don't just assume that it's not going to work out for you, because there are so many people on campus, through students and staff and organizations, that want you to have these opportunities and who put these amazing trips together for you, like Bella going to Italy. Like, people have put these together for students like her to be able to go and experience that. So if there's something that's keeping you from doing that, please reach out to staff and just try and come up with a way that you can still do that if you're interested, because as I've said 3 times now, everyone wants you to do those types of opportunities, so don't leave yourself out of it. We actually have a Northwood entrepreneurship series coming out, which I have to say I love because I'm an entrepreneurship major. So if you are an entrepreneurship major like myself, if you've participated in any of the clubs here at the Idea Center, or if you are an entrepreneurship major, or if you've started your own business or want to start your own business, send information to NU Student News. And
absolutely.
You can get spotlighted on this Instagram, or on the Northwood Instagram page, and just show what you're doing in terms of entrepreneurship. We also want to highlight one of our own Keeping Up with the Pack hosts, Colin Ridgway, who was able to interview Scott Hodge. And Scott Hodge, he had a lot of great things to talk about taxes, and I think around election season, that's something that everyone should be paying attention to.
Oh, definitely.
So enjoy the next clip.
I'm Scott Hodge. I'm President Emeritus of the Tax Foundation. The Tax Foundation is one of the oldest think tanks in the United States, and as our name implies, our focus is on tax policy. We were formed in 1937 during the depths of the Depression, when our founders thought that America needed some really straight shooting about the growth of government and the growth of taxes. And ever since, we've been focused on trying to make the tax code more sensible, more pro-growth. And I've led the Tax Foundation for the last 22 years. More recently, I stepped away from day-to-day management in order to write a book called Taxocracy: What You Don't Know About Taxes and How They Rule Your Daily Life. And prior to coming to the Tax Foundation, I worked at a couple of other think tanks in Washington, including the Heritage Foundation. And then prior to that, I helped start a think tank in Chicago called the Heartland Institute, which is a more libertarian conservative think tank based out of Chicago. And the whole idea around the Heartland Institute was to bring free market ideas to solve problems at the state and local level. And I'm very proud of the fact that Heartland is still going after 40 years. So I've been in the free market movement for my entire career. So it's been a long but interesting journey.
Yeah. So why should students care about taxes?
Yeah, well, taxes impact every aspect of your lives, to be honest with you. It's interesting that government tries to do a lot through the tax code to encourage people to go to school, to lower the cost of college education. And all of those efforts, those subsidy efforts, actually raise the cost of going to school, because these tax credits that are built into the code that are supposed to lower, your cost of going to school, universities tend to build the price of those into the price of tuition. So all that government does in trying to help lower the cost of college ends up raising the cost of college as a result. And of course, from a broader perspective, once you get into the workforce, you want a healthy economy that offers you an opportunity to grow your career and improve your life over time. And taxes impact every aspect of that, whether it's trying to buy a house. Now we have all these subsidies to whether you want to buy a car or not. Put solar panels on your roof. Do all of these different things. Politicians are constantly trying to influence the way we live our daily lives through the tax code. They want us to do what they want you to do, not what we want to do. So I kind of look at it this way. If you believe in free will, you should be against the kind of tax code we have today, because it's really all about politicians trying to have you do what they want you to do through all of these tax measures, not what we want to do. So the simpler the tax code that we have or want, the better off we'll be, because then it leaves it us to choose how we want to spend our money, live our lives, and not dictate it through the tax code.
So what advice can you give a young person like myself about taxes?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Just note around you as you go through, look at simple things like, the cost of, a good example. Do you like, well, I don't know how old you are. Do you like hard seltzer? Hard seltzer, believe it or not, is taxed at a different rate than hard alcohol because it's brewed more like beer, and therefore it faces a lower tax rate than something like Jack Daniel's seltzer or whatever the equivalent would be. So simple things like that have consequences in the choices that we make. And it's really important that we try to remove those kind of distortions from the tax code, because they influence the way we think. And my book is full of these little stories and anecdotes about how tax policy has changed our architecture, the kind of cars that we drive, the houses that we drive, all manner of things. Healthcare, for instance. The reason that we get healthcare through our employer is because health insurance was made tax-free during World War II. And so that kind of gets built into our society. And so all of these different things are influenced by tax policy. And my goal in my career is to make sure that we can get to a tax code that doesn't influence our daily lives.
Without naming the candidate,
Yeah.
Can you give us your opinion on the proposed tax policies and what makes a good tax policy?
Yeah, well, we'll start out with what makes a good tax policy first, because both the presidential candidates have pretty bad tax policies, to be honest with you. What makes a good tax policy? Well, we have some principles of the Tax Foundation we've been pushing and advancing for the last 80-some years. And the first one is what we call neutrality. And that is, taxes shouldn't be used to subsidize one person and punish another. It shouldn't be used to micromanage economic or social behavior. Transparency is a good one, because we want to know how we're being taxed and where our tax dollars are going. Simplicity is a really important principle, because we want a simple tax code that's easy to comply with and easy to administer. And then lastly, we want a stable tax code, one that we can predict, that we can understand. Those four principles really set out, I think, the basis for an economically sound tax code, one that has minimal impact on our daily lives. And so with that, let's look at both the Harris tax plan and the Trump tax plan, and both of them fail on many of those accounts, sadly enough. Harris's tax plan is really all about increasing the progressivity of the tax code and the amount of redistribution through the tax code. She has somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 to $5 trillion worth of tax increases, and much of those are going to be transferred over through the distribution of tax dollars through things like the child tax credit, earned income tax credit, and other social programs in the tax code. She has things like a wealth tax, so she wants to tax people on their wealth. And but she's got some other things, like she has this $25,000 or $50,000 tax credit for small businesses. Well, that's fine, but her message seems to be, we're going to support you when you're small, but we're going to tax the heck out of you when you get rich. And what kind of message is that? On the other hand, Trump, at least half of his plan is kind of good. He wants to extend the tax cuts that were created in 2017. That's good. That's pro-growth. But doing so is going to have a big impact on the deficit, and he hasn't said how he's going to deal with that. More recently, he's been coming up with some really wacky ideas, like not taxing tips. They think, well, great, when I was a waiter, I didn't report my tips either. But, we all know the old song, if you don't tax something, you get more of it. So if we don't tax tips, we're going to get a lot more of it. So, now it's not just going to be waiters, it's going to be plumbers, electricians, lawyers, tax economists, all going to say, I want my money in tips. He doesn't want to tax overtime, so that's going to create all kinds of quirks in the tax code and in the economy. He wants to expand other kind of things. Every day, he's coming up with some crazy idea that is going to mess up the tax code and make it much more complicated. So there you go. It's really a choice between a more progressive tax system and more redistribution, or one with more holes in it, with the potential that it could actually be, some of it will be more pro-growth than others. So it's a real challenge this year on how to choose between one or the other.
Now, you mentioned the rich and taxes. Now, in your opinion, do the rich pay their fair share in taxes?
Well, yes. Fair share is a subjective term, obviously, right? We all have our idea of what fair share is. But let's look at some of the facts, and the facts are relatively objective, we think. Currently, the top 1% of taxpayers, that's about 1.5 million people, pay 40% of all the income taxes. 1% pay 40% of all the income taxes. Let's look at their effective tax rate, which is after you take all your credits and deductions, what rate do you pay? What is your average rate? And the top 1%, actually it's the top 0.1%, pay an average rate of 25%. So even after all of those credits and deductions that they take, they're still paying 25% of their income in federal income taxes. Let's look at the other side of the equation, at the poor. Actually, poor in America have the lowest tax burden compared to any country in Europe, because we have these things called refundable tax credits, where even if you don't owe any taxes, you can still get a tax credit back, a check back from the IRS. Millions of people pay no income taxes because of these credits. They pay a negative effective tax rate, imagine that, of 17%, meaning they get more back than they pay in taxes. The bottom line is that we have 54 million Americans that pay zero income taxes because of the generous provisions that we have in the tax code. And so we have a very, very progressive tax system already before some of these people like Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or Kamala Harris want to increase the progressivity of the tax code. So don't be fooled into this idea that the rich don't pay their share. They do. They're actually bearing the lion's share of the tax burden.
So in your opinion, what is the worst tax Americans pay today?
Well, interestingly enough, there was a a study done by economists at the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in Paris. They did a massive study a number of years ago looking at what are the most harmful taxes and how can we rank them. And this tax and growth ranking came up with the conclusion that the corporate income tax is the most harmful tax for economic growth. You think, why is that? It's because capital is the most mobile factor in the economy and thus the most sensitive at high tax rates. So mobile, a capital, whether it's monetary capital or physical capital, can be very mobile. It can move from a high tax country to a low tax country. It can go to where it's more favored. And so it's very, very sensitive to high tax rates. Personal income is the second most harmful tax because we can decide how much we want to work based on the tax burden, or we can move to a lower tax state. So if we get tired of Michigan, we can go to Florida where there's no income tax, right? Yeah. And then consumption taxes like sales taxes and so forth are the third most harmful, and then property taxes are the least harmful. So think of it this way, it's corporate income, individual income, consumption taxes, and then property taxes are the least harmful. So with that little rule of thumb, you can kind of look at all the different proposals and decide which ones are going to be the most harmful or the least harmful for economic growth.
So should we just get rid of all taxes? Would that be the solution?
Wouldn't it be nice? Yeah. At some level, we need some level of government, I guess, right? And so you need to be able to finance those things that we want in government, whether it's a judiciary or so forth. So the idea is to find ways to raise a sufficient amount of money to fund government in the least economically harmful way. And so what that hierarchy of harm that I just showed you tells us we should lean more on consumption taxes or property taxes than income taxes. And so the more that we can move toward a consumption tax base, and there are various ways you can do that, the more economically efficient that is and the least harmful it is to the economy.
Well, this has just been wonderful. Now, for our viewers, if they want to learn more information about you or what you do, where can they find you at?
Yeah, come to the Tax Foundation's website. It's taxfoundation.org. And everything on there is free to the public. It's a fantastic amount of research and information. In particular, check out our Tax EDU program. This is our tax literacy program. We've got some really cool videos in there that teach you about things like marginal tax rates and flat taxes and how the corporate tax is most harmful, things like that. We've got a bibliography in there. You can check out different resources there. It's a fantastic resource. And so if you get stuck on something in your economics class, come to the Tax Foundation's website. It's going to help you out.
Kicking off with our automotive sector, we have Collin Kubik, who is interviewing all the students going to AAPEX. So let's see what they have to say for their upcoming trip.
Hello, everybody. My name is Colin Kubik, and welcome back to another automotive segment here with Keeping Up with the Pack. I'm sitting here with three rock stars today. This is Mr. Noah Koss, Avery Krantz, and Zach McLeod. And we're going to be talking about the awesome opportunity that's been given to Northwood students to attend AAPEX SEMA. All right, so first question for you guys here. I'm curious, right? When you go to an event like this, what is one thing that you want to take away for yourself as an individual, but also heading into your careers in the future?
I think one thing for me that I want to take away from this is learning how to build a lot more connections in the industry. I think that's something that Northwood's always been really good at. So to be able to send us to an event like this where we can go and network with hundreds, maybe even thousands of people, I think that'll make a really big dent in our industry for sure.
For me, I would absolutely kind of piggyback off of what Zach just said. In me personally and in my future career, I think it's all about building connections, building relationships, and kind of getting your foot in the door. And again, by taking us on these trips and giving us these opportunities, I feel like Northwood has done an amazing job with giving us the opportunity to make these connections and kind of meet all these new people and industry professionals. So it's been amazing, and that's what I love about Northwood.
I'd take a little different route. I'd say myself being a senior this year, I'm looking most forward to diving into the companies that I've already talked to more intimately, I'd say. Getting close to graduating, I'd love to see if I could find a job offer somewhere. So getting to be able to talk to companies more in depth really would allow me to see what would fit best for me and go from there.
Wonderful answers across the board. Diving in just a little bit deeper, Avery touched on establishing relationships, right? So when you're out there, and those for you that don't know events like AAPEX, SEMA, this is a perennial Super Bowl event basically for the aftermarket industry to be able to make business deals. I think, there's a statistic out there that says about 70% of the business deals on the year will go down at AAPEX SEMA for the aftermarket industry. Some huge numbers, but I'll go in depth here as well that we are the only university that sends students out there. So that is also a proving ground for Northwood University to be able to show its talent and then also get these lovely faces in front of people. So I'm curious, when it comes to relationships, how do you guys individually go about establishing relationships with people?
I would say two tactics or routes that I would like to take. Asking a lot of questions. I think there's always someone to learn from. And if I'm at a conference like this where everyone knows something that I don't, I think that's a big spot where you can ask those questions and understand a little bit more. And I would say also doing a lot more listening than you do talking. I think that's a big thing that for us especially, we're there to learn. So I think if we're able to take that approach, I think we'll learn a lot while we're there.
For me, I would say absolutely go into everything what you do with confidence, even though I know talking to people that know way more than you or you feel like have way more experience than you do, because they probably do. It can be really frightening and people are afraid to ask questions and really hop in the conversation. But I think that is the most important thing, is putting yourself out there, asking those questions, and really just listening to all the advice they have to give you and all the information that you can take in from them. That's definitely the most important thing for me, and kind of how I am able to jump into conversations is really just fake it till you make it. Have that confidence to just put yourself into the conversation and learn everything that you can.
Wise words.
I would say I take a little bit more laid back approach. I tend to like to start the conversation off by just asking them simple questions like, how's their day going? Get to know them a little bit more on a personable level. And I know everybody thinks we're there to do business and we're there to get as much opportunities as possible. But I think sometimes the best opportunities come when you're just having a straight up conversation with somebody. It allows you to connect with them a little bit better. And then once you make that connection, you could dive into the business. And I think that's where I really shine, is just having a conversation with somebody like I'm talking to them every other day, for sure.
Wow. Dang, you guys are hitting them on all different points. I really appreciate that. And I know our viewership does as well. I touched on last episode that you don't necessarily have to have an automotive degree to succeed in the auto world. And while I have some fantastic experience between these three students sitting here right next to me, I'm curious, what are some things that you've learned in the classroom that don't necessarily correlate with the auto world, but you can take those skills and back it up and provide value to whatever companies that would take interest in you?
I think within the classroom, we preach a lot about experiential learning. So being able to present yourself in the right way while you're out on these experiences, I think that's one thing I'll take into the automotive world or any other industry that I go to outside of Northwood, such as soft skills. I know us Northwood students, we really present ourselves in a different sort of way. And a lot of employers that come on this campus really see that. And they really think that that's why we ourselves and Northwood students present ourselves in such a good way.
So for me, I kind of have a little bit of a different take on this, because I see it from a different perspective, as I am not an aftermarket major. I am an entrepreneurship major. But I have had so many different experiences through Northwood in the automotive world and industry, like the International Auto Show that we hold every year. I've got to experience that the last 2 years, as I'm now a sophomore, and attending AAPEX SEMA and creating those relationships, meeting with new companies, and really figuring out what they're all about, as well as my internship. I had an internship with Hendrick Automotive Group this past summer, which taught me a lot. And even though I wasn't really learning it in the classroom yet, because I hadn't taken the class, I feel like almost the best experience, because I got to go in it with full force and really just have a hands-on experience and get to know the automotive industry in the real world before even opening up a textbook. And that has been very valuable to me. So I really think that just experiences from Northwood and putting it out into the real world is the best opportunity I could have. And I've learned so much by being able to do those things through being a student at Northwood.
I think one of the things for me that I've realized from the classroom, but then also to take with me and apply outside, I think it really gets narrowed down to 3 different concepts of being prepared, being confident, and taking that risk. Because if you can be prepared, you can look put together, you can show up, you can put everything. I think that there's 3 separate pieces that really come together that we've all been able to learn in the classroom. And I think that that would be to be prepared, to be confident, and to kind of take that chance. Because if you're prepared, you can put your game face on, you can look put together, you go up to the booth, you be confident, you shake hands, you able to introduce yourself, talk about you, and then just have open ears from there to listen to what they have to say. So I think that's a big risk to take. I mean, we're students, we're not in the industry yet. And I think that that's one main difference, but that's really why we're there.
So for our viewership back home, I really want to touch on what AAPEX SEMA is. And if we don't mind just having a good conversation about what it means to you and what you know about it to this point and why it's valuable to you as individuals, love to touch on that. So I know, Noah, AAPEX is like heavy duty. Can you go into like a little bit more of a depth into
Yeah. So I spent most of my time at AAPEX for the convention, and it is a lot of the nitty gritty. SEMA is more a lot of the prettier stuff. AAPEX is, if you will, the business stuff. So you're going to see a lot of transactions between businesses. And it was really awesome to just shadow and see how much gets done there business wise. And when you're walking around, it may not be all the glitz and glamour, but that's where a lot of the money actually is. It's very contradictory in the eye sense, but behind the scenes, you're going to see a lot more happening at AAPEX for sure.
I know that the aftermarket industry is valued, I believe, at $550 billion.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a lot of money to be doling around in an industry. I'm curious, does that excite you guys for opportunities with all that money floating around, all those big personalities floating around and then being right in the center of it? Like those kinds of opportunities, how does that speak to your interests and your mentals?
I would say it's an exciting experience. I mean, there's a lot to see. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people that are going to be there. And I think for us, like that's a whole new experience that is just one of a kind. So I think to see where all these parts fall into these cars and to see all these cars at SEMA rip around, I think it's going to be a really cool time.
Yeah, just like Zach just said, it truly is a one-of-a-kind experience. And it is so exciting to be able to just be right in the middle of it and make all these connections, meet all these new people, and open up our eyes to so many companies that we didn't even know existed. And I think really it's a lot to take in, but it is all an amazing thing to take in, and we learn so much from it. So it's been really exciting.
All right. So thank you for joining me here today. I'm just curious, do you guys have any closing remarks that you'd love to give back to everybody that's watching here?
I would say for everybody listening or watching, always have a smile on your face. A positive attitude gets you a long, long way. And I've found that out personally with a lot of opportunities I've gotten. But yeah, just always be positive, I'd say.
I love that advice.
For me, something that is huge to me is really just taking advantage of every single opportunity that is set in front of you or that can be made available to you and running with it. Being even just a student here at Northwood, there are so many different opportunities that really anyone can have the chance to take. And I think the most important thing is just putting yourself out there, being yourself, and working hard. I think everyone here knows where we want to be. We all want to be successful, and Northwood really gives us the opportunity and the chance to be successful and put ourselves out there. So I just take that and run with it.
I would definitely agree. I would say, I mean, days go by quickly. If you can find a new opportunity every day, I mean, why not take it? I mean, if you're able to go outside, find something new, go meet new people, I think these are all the opportunities that we're getting that not everyone's taking advantage of. So I think more people should get involved.
Now to welcome one of our newest co-hosts, Avery Huston. She is a freshman studying entrepreneurship with a minor in marketing communications. She discovered Northwood 4 years ago as she attended her first lab camp, which is so incredible.
love
Props
that.
to you. After returning to campus for 2 more times, she knew that Northwood was not only her dream school, but the place that was gonna help her achieve her goals. So welcome, Avery. We are so lucky to have you. She is covering our athletics segment, so let's see what she has to say about all things sports.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the new segment on Keeping Up with the Pack. It's sports. I'm your new host, Avery Huston. In this segment, I will be talking about all things sports. Today, I'm here with
Hattie Binkia.
and Catherine Hopp. And today, I'm going to ask them a few questions about how their season is going. All right, so what is something that your team has had to overcome this season so far?
We've had a lot of injuries so far, so just keeping a positive mindset about it and encouraging the girls to get back in has been really challenging, but good for our team.
Yeah, we've had quite a few key players out, unfortunately. The past few weeks, though, they've started to come back, so we'll see going into postseason how things kind of line up with everybody.
Awesome. What's the best thing about playing at Northwood?
I'd say the relationships, our team's like a family. We all get along very well.
Yeah, and just the smaller community definitely helps getting to know each other, and we just have each other's backs, and it's kind of easy to communicate and just kind of work together when accomplishing our goals.
Awesome. And then when's your next home game, and what are you most looking forward to in it?
So we actually only have one home meet of the season. It's already passed. We do a cross-country home meet. It's our first meet in the fall season, so our next home one isn't until next year, but our next meet is in Hillsdale for GMAX this Saturday.
So even though your season kind of passed by for the home team, what is the biggest thing that the student section can do to hype up you or push you to run faster, I guess?
Cross country is kind of a hard one because having spectators unless you really know cross country and know it well, you kind of have to run around a lot. It's kind of funny watching spectators try to get to different parts of the courses, especially our home course. A large portion of it is out in the woods, and so it's kind of hard for people to get to, but it's just fun seeing people out there. It's not necessarily a sport where you see a lot of spectators at. Track's one thing in the spring, but yeah, with cross, it's just nice seeing people out there, whether we see you once, twice on the course, if you can only see the start finish. It's just fun having people out there to support you, especially when we don't necessarily see it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Or even just when you see us around on campus and stuff, the sport doesn't go unnoticed. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to interview us, and let's roll on to the next team. Hey guys, and welcome back. We are with the men's cross country team. So, who are you?
My name's Carson Laney.
Okay. And what's your major?
Sport management. I'm doing my MBA right now.
Awesome. What is one of the biggest things that your team has had to overcome this season?
Probably consistency. Just kind of finding our groove, having to overcome each challenge during each race. Each course is different, so you have to attack things a little bit differently each time.
Awesome. What's the best thing about playing at Northwood?
The best thing about Northwood is just the access of places to run. We have a dirt road, and we have tons of trails too, so that's really nice.
So what is something that you get so hyped up about because of the student section is there?
When people come out to our home meet at the start of the year, that's really cool. People from our track team or anyone from the community, parents, that gets us pretty hyped up. And just the adrenaline that surges during that race is really fun.
Awesome. And then last question is, what's the worst workout and why?
The worst workout, that's a tough one. Depends on the day. Hills can be tough when it's hot, but doing K repeats on the course can be tough too, especially when it's hot or windy. Those can be really tough.
Awesome. Thank you. And now on to our next sport. All right. I'm back with men's cross country. And who do I have today?
You have Jacob Ortenberg.
And what's your major?
I'm an accounting major.
Awesome. So what is the best piece of advice you can give to other college athletes?
I guess the best thing to do is just keep a positive mental state when it comes to working with your team and to be able to understand what it's like to be on a team.
What's the best thing about being a student athlete, and what does it mean to you?
I guess for me, I think it's really important for student athletes to have something that can just step aside from schoolwork and do something that they enjoy. doing.
And how does your team react to student life, student section, and just like the overall atmosphere of Northwood?
I think that we find it pretty cool just being able to have a big support system rather than just not having a bunch of people that don't really support the sport as much. I think it's pretty cool to have that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yep.
And we'll be on to the next sport. Thank you, guys. All right, guys, now we're back with the men's soccer team. So tell us who you are.
I'm Nathan Precious. I'm Logan Duty.
All right.
Sorry. When you talk into it.
Oh, okay.
So
My bad.
let's
Yeah,
try that
restart.
again. Let's try that again.
All right, we're back, and we are here with the men's soccer team. So tell us a little about who you are.
I'm Nathan Precious. I'm Logan Duty. I'm a senior, and I'm a computer science major. And I'm a junior, and I'm a sport management major.
All right, so a few questions for you guys. What's your worst workout and why?
Anything with legs, because I'm kind of weak.
I think leg day because you have to use your legs all the time and you're sore for about a week. So
Okay, what's some other great advice for college athletes?
Show up to class, otherwise you can't play.
with that too, I think if you always work hard, it helps with everything you do.
What is the team that you are looking forward to beat most in November, and why?
Tiffin, because they're really annoying.
They're very annoying to play against.
And then when's your guys' next home game?
November 4th?
November 4th.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, and we'll be on to the next team. All right, guys, we're here with the men's hockey team, and who are you guys?
My name's Jay Millette.
I'm Mason Matthew.
All right, so what is the best thing about playing at Northwood?
For me, the best thing about playing at Northwood is, it's like a family. We're all one big family here. We're all Timbies. And just the playing environment, you have a big packed game. Everyone's excited. Everyone's going. Great opportunities here always.
I love the camaraderie in the locker room. It's a really tight group of guys. Just get on the rink every day. It's just a blast.
Awesome. What's the best play of the season so far?
Best play of the season is probably our last game. We won in overtime. It was a tough game versus NIU. Owen Crossan came through, scored the game winner in overtime. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. To do that or beating Saginaw back-to-back nights, 5-0. It's always a good weekend beating them.
Awesome. And then what team are you guys looking forward to beating the most in November?
I don't even know. We got a lot of tough opponents coming up. I mean, we got Saginaw coming up, which is another. Yes, we beat them, but it's playing the same team again. It's tough beating them 2 nights in a row. We got Toledo coming up. It's a tough game.
Yeah, I think probably the series against Calvin. They're a top 10 team in the country, so if we can steal one off of them, it's a big weekend for us.
Awesome. And then one last question. What's the best and worst thing about being a student athlete?
Best thing is, game days are always fun, like I said. You get recognized around campus by keeping up the pack and stuff like that. It's great. I love sports. I've always loved them since I was young. It just keeps me going every day.
Yeah, no, best part is just getting out there and seeing us play and all the other teams play. But the worst part's got to be the early morning practices.
Yeah, I got to agree with the worst part is being early morning practices. But.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And now we're going to hear from the next sport. All right, guys, and I'm here with the women's volleyball team. And who are you?
My name is Sydney Hassenfratz. I'm a senior here.
Awesome. So what is the best thing about being a student athlete at Northwood?
I think that the community aspect's a big thing. Like, I think that all the teams here, especially just the whole campus, really supports each other. So I think, seeing other people support us when we're home and away, definitely helps.
What's the best thing that the student section gives to your team during those really hard times?
I think definitely energy. I mean, especially when we get a good turnout, we can definitely bounce our energy off theirs, especially in our gym since it's I'd say a little smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really easy to hear them and hear their support and stuff.
Awesome. What's the best play so far in the season?
The best play?
Mm-hmm.
The best game we've had?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that the best game we had, honestly, at the beginning of the season, especially when us and football were both home at the same time, I think they bring a big part of the student section. So probably one of our earlier Tuesday night games. I can't think of any specifics,
okay.
But
last question, what is the worst workout you have to do?
The worst workout, definitely our spring 6 a.m. practices are my least favorite.
That sounds rough. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And heading on to the next sport. Hi, guys. We're back, and today we're with the cheer team. Who are you guys?
Gabby Holinsky.
Grayson Miller.
Okay, so what's the best thing about cheering at Northwood?
Best thing about cheering at Northwood, I would definitely say the environment as a whole. The girls are amazing. Coach Maggie, we could not have asked for a better coach, and the student body has been super supportive. So
awesome.
I couldn't agree more. Absolutely, the environment.
Yeah.
What's the biggest outcome from having the cheer at Northwood this year? Because this is the first time having cheer here, right? So what's the best thing that Northwood has brought to you by being a first year program?
So this isn't the first time we've had a cheer team. The cheer team was not here last year. It's being brought back, new coach, new program, new everything. Once again, Coach Maggie is absolutely amazing, and she gets us the best sponsorships, and we get to work with the best brands. Club Pilates, Root Juice are just some examples. So it's been super nice to just be able to work with them.
I just think it's nice for all of us to know we have a place with each other no matter what. We always have our girls to talk to. Everyone is so close with each other, I feel, and there's girls who have never cheered on any cheer team before who are just thriving. It's amazing.
Awesome. And then what's the worst workout you guys have to be put through?
What is it? The Turkish,
Turkish get-ups.
Turkish get-ups.
I hate those. I hate those. I love Coach Connor, but I hate those. We finally got our workout routine switched, and it's more of a leg day, and that killed me the other day. I was not expecting him to change it, and it killed me, but oh.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining me on the interview.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Avery, and welcome again to Keeping Up with the Pack. We are so happy to have you. Now we have Carson with Wolf in the Wild.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carson with Wolf in the Wild, and today I'm here on campus spreading positivity by putting up little sticky notes around campus for everyone for World Kindness Day.
That is wonderful. We love seeing our students spreading kindness all around campus. So, Laina, what is your favorite way to spread kindness?
Ooh. Okay, this is kind of random. I know I've talked to people about this before, but one of the biggest things that I do, which is kind of random and small in retrospect, is just saying hi to people on campus. I feel whenever I'm walking around, if I make eye contact with someone, or if I'm in the cafeteria, if I see someone, I'm just hi, how are you doing? And some people look at me like I'm a little crazy because I do this to people that I don't know, but I think on campus I just try and make everyone feel like a family because that's why I came here. So even if you guys think I'm a little bit crazy, that is my favorite way to spread kindness.
Absolutely.
Bella, can I ask you what your favorite way to spread a little bit of kindness is?
I think just noticing people. If I wake up thinking about somebody, I'll send them a text hey, I'm thinking about you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Just that little bit of recognition and just letting people know that you're thinking about them and you're there for them. I think it opens up a lot of doors for them to also be accepting of other people and to just know that they're kind of in a really safe place. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I know that we've had a lot of great things going on campus, and thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Keeping Up with the Pack.
Absolutely. We can't wait to see you for our next episode.
Bye.